So following the first earthquake, the Australian Himalayan Foundation, of which I'm an ambassador, responded by creating an earthquake appeal. Their focus is on health, education and the environment across the Himalaya. But of course, at the moment, with the earthquake in Nepal, their focus is there. And so they asked me to go to Nepal immediately to distribute emergency aid in the lower Solukhumbu region, which is down below the Everest region. So it's off the popular trekking trails. Very remote, very poor areas. And I flew across with another guy from Canberra, and we took across tarpaulins and tents and blankets and lots of medications. We trekked for 3 weeks through all the villages in the lower Solukhumbu, or many of the villages in the lower Solukhumbu. Probably visited 100 villages and distributed aid where it was most needed. We were the only NGO operating in that entire area, so it was good to get in there. And it was amazing. Even a week or 2 weeks after the first earthquake had occurred, we found people who still hadn't had any medical treatment. So we were able to render that aid, we were able to resupply the first aid stations that had used their medications. And we took a couple of doctors with us, so for serious injuries they were able to take care of that. We ended up evacuating a few people who were just too seriously ill to be able to be treated where we were. And along the way we did assessments of the schools in each of the villages that we visited. And we visited 60 schools, 58 of which were damaged. So we prioritised what we thought was the needs for rebuilding and recovery. When we came back to Kathmandu, we reported to the Ministry of Education there, so they had an understanding. And most importantly, we showed them with photographs why the schools had been damaged in the way that they had, because of their building design. Because they're built predominantly with rock, sometimes cut stone and sometimes uncut stone, at best they're held in with mud mortar, but very little of that. That's why you shake a rock wall and the top of it is the first thing to fall down, and those gables, consistently throughout the buildings that we saw that were damaged, they'd lost their gables, and then some of them had lost their walls as well. I have to say that the country was incredibly lucky that the first earthquake occurred on a Saturday afternoon when the kids were out of school and most people were out of their houses and in the fields. Otherwise the consequence would have been far, far worse. I can't imagine how many kids would have been injured or killed inside the classrooms had school actually been operating.